Hey fam, I want to tell you about a new podcast called Reimagining Democracy for a Good Life. We know about people threatening democracy, don't we? But there are also people coming together across racial lines to seize this moment and stretch democracy to serve all of us. Join longtime equity advocate Angela Glover Blackwell for Reimagining Democracy for a Good Life, a podcast that asks, how do we build a radically inclusive, thriving, multiracial democracy? And looks at what one city, Los Angeles, is doing to try to make it a reality. Reimagining Democracy for a Good Life is available now wherever you get your podcasts. Even if you haven't heard his music, you've heard his message. The revolution will not be televised was him calling out injustice. But now, in the era of social media, we must ask, should the revolution be televised? This is 2 Minute Black History, what you didn't learn in school. Deemed the Godfather of rap, Gil Scott-Heron was a writer, poet, and musician. His work fused jazz, poetry, rap, and passionate protest. Scott-Heron was ahead of his time when he wrote, "The revolution will not be televised." The line publicly called out television and media networks for not broadcasting news reflecting the protests happening in the streets, and is still relevant today. Anti-Black messaging has always been present within media, be it pro-slavery propaganda or victims of police brutality being villainized. Media works to expose information, which is why elements of our history, like the Underground Railroad, depended on secrecy. Secrecy meant safety. The news is so overrun with propaganda and fake news that only 11% of Americans trust television news. Many look to other media or influencers to stay informed, with roughly 23% of social media users having recently changed their political views due to information learned from social media. We must be careful about which sources we listen to, however. Sometimes social media is what keeps us most informed about global issues the news works to cover up. As we reimagine protesting, we switch Scott-Heron's statement to a question. Should the revolution be televised? Or is it time to return to the underground? In order to move towards the future, you've got to look to the past. This has been 2 Minute Black History, a podcast by Push Black. If you enjoyed this episode and want to show your support, please rate and subscribe to our podcast. Together, let's celebrate and honor the legacy of Black history.